Hey,
And
fire away.
we'll start first with Herbie Teope. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach. Good afternoon. How are you?
All right, Herb.
A couple questions on two injured guys, L'Jarius Sneed and Sammy Watkins. How close is Sneed to being clear from the concussion protocol? And with Watkins, when he missed practice on Friday, was that just holding back on him, preparing him for this week?
Yeah, so both guys practiced today. Sneed's good to go. He's been cleared. And Sammy worked today. That was just a precautionary thing.
Thank you, Coach.
We'll go next to Nick Jacobs. Go ahead, Nick.
Andy, I'm curious for you, given what you went through last year with the Super Bowl, how much does that benefit you guys having gone through that experience and what to expect and prepare?
Yeah, Nick. This is different because of what we're doing right now. And we're here in Kansas City as opposed to being in Tampa. Last year we would have already been in Miami doing our thing. So down there, but I don't think you have quite as many distractions as maybe what you'd have in a normal Super Bowl week when you're out of facility. But you still know it's there. You still know that there's a game ahead that is the Super Bowl, and you're able to focus on that part of it probably a little bit better, I would probably say.
Next to Clarence Hill, Fort Worth Star-Telegraph. Go to Clarence.
Hey, Coach. There's been so much talk about Eric Bieniemy not getting the job. Were you upset? I know Bruce Arians said he was pissed off that Leftwich didn't get even an interview. But were you upset for Bieniemy, and what needs to happen for him to break through?
Yeah, Clarence. I don't really know. I mean, I don't know the answer to that last part of that. Am I upset? Yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of his, and I know what he can help do for a team, and most of all for the National Football League. And so I think he's so deserving of that opportunity, and I'm hoping someday it comes. I was expecting it last year, and it didn't happen. I definitely thought it would happen this year, and it didn't happen. But I can't tell you the last part of your question. I think he's as ready as anybody.
Let's go next to Sarin Petro. Go ahead, Sarin.
Coach, first of all, congratulations on being back at the big game. Vita Vea coming back. What makes him so good, and how does he disrupt things for you?
I missed that first. Who was that?
Vita Vea, the defensive tackle for the Bucs.
Yeah, no, Vita's he's a heck of a football player, and he is disruptive. He does a nice job inside there. And he didn't play the last time we played him. So, we respect him as a football player, and we know how talented he is.
Go next to Jerron May. Go ahead, Jerron.
Hey, Coach, you've been to 3 Super Bowls as a head coach. Where does this one rank among all of them, especially with a difficult season with COVID and all the other extracurricular details that you've been dealing with?
Yeah, I mean, it's unique. So I would tell you that it's an honor to have the opportunity to play Tampa Bay in what's obviously a historic game from the standpoint that there's never been a home team that's played at their own facility. So I think that's a unique situation, and we look forward to that. We look forward to the challenge of playing them. And compared to other Super Bowls, I have a hard time comparing one to the other. I mean, it's they're all so different, and this one surely is unique with the COVID situation that we've been in.
Go next to Paul Domowich. Go ahead, Paul.
Hey, Andy, how you doing?
Good, Domo.
The Bucs have played extremely well since you guys beat them in Week 12. Besides the fact that they didn't have Vita, looking at the tape, what are the biggest differences you've seen in them over the last 7 games in their play?
Well, listen, they're playing organized football all the way around. I mean, in all three phases. So they're not making many mistakes. They're creating turnovers on the defensive side. They're keeping the turnover level down on the offensive side. The running back situation, I think, is even stronger with Fournette being able to work in there and feel comfortable. They've got the good wide receivers that we faced before, but I think they're probably more on the same page with with Brady than they were back when we played them. So all the way around, it's they're healthier and they're playing at a higher level.
Let's go next to Jeff McClain. Go ahead, Jeff.
Andy, you mentioned obviously Eric Bieniemy, but what about you have another assistant in Mike Kafka that was mentioned as a possible head coaching candidate this past year. He took his name reportedly out of the running on some of those. So what was your advice to him, and what do you make of his qualifications for someday being a head coach, maybe even jumping from quarterback coach to head coach like you did so many years ago?
Yeah, Jeff, listen, he's a good football coach. And he's just getting started in this thing. And it's there's been interest in him for sure, and rightly so. And I know his future is bright.
Let's go next to Susie Colbert. Go ahead, Susie.
Hi, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you, Susie.
Great. So, Steve Young today on our call was talking about usually like Super Bowl hangovers are usually about personalities. What's been so key for you to have, such an unbelievably unselfish attitude on this team and to build a culture that was able to make it back to this game?
Yeah, listen, our guys, I think, enjoy being around each other. Brett Veach did a nice job of bringing everybody back, and they're an unselfish bunch that like to play, and they like to play together, and that I think that's one of our strengths as a football team. So it's a great culture. It starts with Clark Hunt at the top there as our owner, and it just kind of filters on down again to us. So it's a very good organization, very well run organization.
Let's go next to Dave Scretta. Go ahead, Dave.
Good afternoon, Coach. A lot of people look at your roster and they see Patrick and Travis and all the stars and the top heavy nature of it. But I think I counted something like 22 guys that are a late round draft pick or a college free agent. So what is it about you, your staff, Brett, the organization that has allowed you to develop so many kind of under the radar guys and some of whom will be starting this weekend?
Yeah, Dave. So I listen, Brett does a nice job of knowing what the coaches need to be successful on both sides of the ball and special teams. And he listens and weighs out what his scouts believe, what he believes, what the coaches believe, and then comes to a conclusion. And he's been strong on his conviction on certain players that he thought would really help boost us, and gone for it. And so it's worked out. It's worked out well for him. He's got a real knack for that. So, and the coaches have a ton of respect for him and trust that he makes the right decisions. And you guys that know him know his energy level is, off the roof there. So he's done a real nice job supplying players. And then you give the coaches credit, the assistant coaches credit for working with the guys and coaching them up to the best of their ability, and then using their strengths as players to go play and produce.
Let's go next to Matt Derrick. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Coach, when you think about your offensive line and maybe the way that you looked at it during the offseason and with all the injuries, the opt-outs that you've had, what to you has been the key that you've been able to move so many guys in and out, and yet still maintain the same level of productivity?
Yeah, I give credit to Andy Heck for the job that he's done. He does move them to all positions. There's not a whole lot of panic there. When somebody has to go in, they go in, and he's already covered those bases by moving guys around in practice. So they they know what they're doing. And then he has been very open with Brett on what he prefers and doesn't prefer on the offensive line. And Brett's gone out and gotten guys that might not be the prettiest guys in the world, but they'll fight you. And that goes a long way. So everything isn't done perfect, but the effort's there. And that's helped us get by there.
Let's go next to our Play 60 kid, Amaya Brannon. Go ahead, Amaya.
Hi, Coach Reid. How are you?
I'm doing great, Amaya. How are you?
Good.
Good.
My question for you is, when you're stressed out, what strategy do you use?
If in doubt, go deep, Amaya. That's my strategy. So I try not to get too stressed out. But sometimes when you get too stressed out, you make mistakes. And in this business, one mistake can cost you. So you gotta kind of keep your head on straight and try to think the best way you can possibly straight.
Let's go next to Diana Rossini. Go ahead, Diana.
It's very fitting that I'm the one that follows the young girl because her question's definitely better than mine, Andy. So,
Hi, Diana.
hi, Andy. Good to see you. Sorry you can't see us. Real quick here. So, I feel like you're known to have taken so many of your experiences over the last few years and you sort of tuck them away. So you were with Holmgren when they were the defending champs and then lost. Great game. Not because you lost, but obviously in Denver there. Anything from just over 20 years here that you've maybe kept in your back pocket that might be helpful this time to share with the team, or maybe something that you're just even thinking for yourself on the sideline?
Yeah, there possibly is. I mean, experience, there's nothing like it. Listen, I didn't think anybody did it better than Mike Holmgren, and to this day, I still feel that same way. So I think it's a shame he's not in the Hall of Fame, with Brett and Ron Wolf. The three of them were phenomenal. So, but you learn something every day, and he was a great teacher and a great communicator with me as an assistant coach. And so I learned a bunch from him. And I'm sure there's some of those things that I've tucked away and will continue to tuck away. And I'm not going to make predictions on the game by any means, but yeah, there are things you can learn from those situations.
Let's go next to Rick Stroud. Go ahead, Rick.
Andy, you're the young coach in this game, as you know. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Rick. I got you.
You're the young coach in this game, and Bruce Arians this is his first Super Bowl. I'm wondering when you get here, what that feeling is like, and how much all that experience matters for you when you're in the ultimate game.
Yeah, so I believe he's been there before, just as an assistant coach. So listen, Bruce is a heck of a football coach now. I don't think he's going to be awed by the whole thing. He's a sharp guy and been doing it a long time. So it's not too much he hasn't seen. And you made me feel young, which is good. I mean, that doesn't always happen. I'm glad somebody told me that it was the two oldest coaches combined in years to ever coach in the Super Bowl. And I'm not sure that's a mark either one of us want, but we've got it now. And so somebody else can come break that record.
We'll go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Coach. Hope you're well.
right,
Tom has been really great his entire career at these pre-snap reads. And then I remembered Patrick when he was, I think it was on a HBO show, had said you're halfway through his initial year starting, just had struggled with that part of it. How far have you seen him come in that regard from 18 to now, even young, and it's still in his young career?
Yeah, Tom is great at it too, by the way. And so is Pat. Pat's gotten to that point now. I mean, he's studied some of the great ones, Tom included, and so, he knew that he had to get better in that area, and he's done that. And one thing you love about Pat is he's always taking his weaknesses and trying to turn them into strengths. And so you appreciate that as a coach, and that's why he's gone about it for the years that he's been here. And, I just think that it tells a lot about the kid, but it's also great for his teammates to see that. You can see the improvements of which he's made every year. And whatever his weakness was, he's attacked those things and turned them into strengths.
Let's go next to Mike DeCourcy. Go ahead, Mike.
Yes, Coach. I was wondering if you could discuss losing Laurent to the opt-out and what it's done to the team, and maybe also what it's done for the team to see the example he set by the choice he made.
Yeah, well, what a great example. I mean, we all know that Larry is going to be a doctor, and that was his goal when he got here. He loves football, but he wanted to go forward with that, and so he did. He had to make a big time decision, and he did that for a great cause. I mean, who could argue with that? I mean, this was to help save people's lives. It wasn't a selfish thing on his part as much as it was to help others. And you see that with doctors. They're givers, man. They care, and they want to take care of everybody's well-being. So that's what Larry did. That was a decision in which he made.
Let's go next to Scott M. with the South Florida Tribune.
Good afternoon, Coach. Nice talking to you. Let's talk about the familiarity factor. Obviously, you played the Buccaneers before. Are there any things that you take away from the second time that you normally wouldn't have had the first? Obviously, during divisional play, you see an opponent the second time, and now you have the opportunity to do it again here in the Super Bowl. Thank you, and congratulations to be back here.
I think so. Yeah, I think naturally you take things away. I mean, whether it's the setup of the stadium to the hotel, to the, obviously to the field and the game and the players involved in it. But it will be different too. It is a Super Bowl. They are healthy. They will have change-ups for us as we go. I mean, they're well coached, and they've got a lot of veteran players there that you can give things to, and as change-up pitches for whatever opponent they're playing. So we know we'll see some different things and need to adjust to them and go from there. Likewise, we go through the same thing. I mean, there are things that we'll show that they'll have to adjust to. I think both teams will know each other's base ground formations and tendencies and those type of things. Yeah.
Next to Therese Paylor with Yahoo Sports. Go, Therese.
Hey, Coach, how you doing today?
Yep.
Hey, quick question for you. What with Kelsey and Gronk, I think this is an interesting matchup between two great tight ends. You've been around in this league a long time. Just how have you seen those two kind of push the position forward in the way that position is seemingly used now as a security blanket for quarterbacks?
Well, it is. It's the closest receiver to the quarterback normally. Most downs, they're big guys, so normally you get a size matchup that's great for the quarterback. Big catch radius for both guys. Both guys can get open. They know how to get open. They've produced in tight coverage situations and within zones. And every quarterback needs that go-to guy. And so if you're lucky enough to have a tight end as your go-to guy, it's a good thing to be able to work between the hashes and the numbers, middle of the field, that area. There's nothing like it for a quarterback.
Let's go next to Jeffrey Arnold. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hi, Coach. Sorry about that. I had to get the mute button put away. Can you talk a little bit about Mike Rimmers and how he's helped your offensive line? Excuse me. And with Mitchell Schwartz, I think you had expressed some pessimism about him being able to be available for the Super Bowl. Would Mike be going to the right side, or now that Eric Fisher is out, are you contemplating putting him on the left side at tackle?
Well, I think everybody saw that we moved him over to the left side during the championship game. So I don't think that's a secret. Excuse me, on what side he'll play. He plays either side, but we showed that when we needed to move him over there. And my thought on him is solid football player, dirty, tough, and loves to compete. Will fight you right to the end. He's one of those guys. Not everything's pretty, but he's going to battle you, and that goes a long way. With me, it goes a long way Coach Heck and his teammates.
Let's go next to Mariano Sanito. Go ahead, Mariano. All right. Mariano, you got us? There you go. Okay. We'll come back to you, Mariano. Let's go next to Randy Zila. Go ahead, Randy.
Hey, Coach, thanks for taking the time today. Congratulations also. So, Coach, winning the Super Bowl last year sets an unbelievable expectation for the following year. It's sort of a two-part question. One, how have you kept your players sort of level and focused, knowing that winning one Super Bowl is so difficult and getting a second one is just that, if not more difficult? And two, what does it mean for you and your coaching staff to sort of be able to show the whole league that, you guys are, like, I don't want to say the real deal, but you guys are the best coaching staff in the NFL to be back here for a second straight year?
Yeah, well, listen, I mean, there are a lot of good coaches and coaching staffs in this league. We're fortunate to have good coaches, yes, but also good players, and guys that stayed focused. I mean, whether it was coaches or players, they stayed focused on the process, and that's easier said than done at times. So, but you still have your Tuesdays, your Wednesdays, your Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays to get yourself right in preparation for a game. And if you skip up on those, it doesn't matter if you're trying to get a Super Bowl win for your first time or you're going for your second one. You better take care of and follow the process. So that's one thing our guys have done. They've been able to focus on that through COVID. There's ups and downs through all the testing that goes on and so on. And any hype that's added to it, they've understood the reality of it, that you better come back to first base, and that's the process. And I've been proud of the guys for really focusing in on that.
Let's go next to John Halling with Sky Sports. Go, John.
Hi, Coach. You've got such a wealth of great players at the skill position. Does it make you and Coach Bieniemy's lives a lot easier when you're looking how to attack a team like Tampa Bay?
Well, it doesn't hurt, I'll tell you. We do have some good skilled players and they love to play, and they're humble. They understand that there's only one ball, John. So they're good with all that. And but they also aren't afraid to want the ball when it's the toughest of times. So that's much appreciated by both Eric, myself, and the other coaches. We appreciate their attitude towards the game, and there's a lot said for that.
We'll go next to Yo Takahashi. Go ahead, Yo.
Hi, Coach.
Hi.
I have just a simple question. What is the most challenging things going against Tom Brady's team, and how much confidence you and your team has?
Yeah. So they listen. They've got great coaches. They've got great players, and Tom is a uniter. So you saw that in New England for all those years, and you've seen it this year in Tampa. So it's great to have a player. We're fortunate to have Patrick and the Honey Badger. These guys do that for us. But I'm proud of our guys and the humble approach that they've taken and the respect that they have for Tampa Bay. I mean, Tampa is a good football team, and we respect that, and we know we'll have to play well against them. So we appreciate that challenge, though. We're we're all in this for the challenge of trying to be the best we possibly can. To do that, the competition needs to be the best to bring out the best, and we appreciate that challenge.
Let's go next to John Romano. Go ahead, John.
Hey, Coach, you've obviously had a lot of movement on the offensive line this year. Other than the talent level of going from one guy to the next, what are the challenges of keeping a group that needs to work together in sync as you go through all these combinations?
Yeah, John. So excuse me. So what Andy Heck will do is he'll take 8 guys and he'll just rotate them in, and they play all the different positions. You might be a guard and a center. You might be a center and a tackle. You might be a guard tackle. It doesn't matter. He just rotates them through during practice. It really doesn't matter who's in there. They get familiar with one another, and that ends up being important for what we've gone through here. It's been an important process, and therefore we can go out and we can still be productive.
Mariano Sanito, let's give you another shot here. Go ahead.
Hi, Coach. How are you today? I'm Mariano, no Haro in Argentina.
Thank you. Glad to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here. My question for you is, how different is it this year preparing for a Super Bowl compared to last year, where you were supposed to make a run and you were already a candidate for the Lombardi Trophy, and this year you are the clear favorites? But is there anything different preparation-wise or in the mindset of preparing for this game compared to last year, where you arrived for the first time with the Chiefs? Also, a quick side question: in the event of a Super Bowl win, is there another cheeseburger waiting for you?
There is, Mariano. Yes, I'm gonna go. I need a double cheeseburger if that happens. I appreciate that part. So, listen, the challenges are whether you're first comer to the Super Bowl or you're on your second run. It's the same challenge. I mean, you got to be spot on every week, and the competition level. There's just a small margin between winning and losing in this league. And so you've got to be your best every week, or you're going to get bumped off. I mean, that's just how it goes. And there's an ebb and flow in a game. You're going to have highs and lows, and you got to work through those son of a guns, and you can't get yourself too high. You can't get yourself too low. And normally if you get a lead on somebody, they're going to put a push on to come win the game. I mean, that's how it goes. You see it in all professional sports, whether it's the NBA or Major League Baseball, football, it's soccer. I'm sure is that same way, that somewhere the team that's not doing as well gets it together, and they put the push on, and you got to be in the right frame of mind to handle that and stay mentally tough enough to handle those situations.
We'll go next to Lindsey Jones. Go ahead, Lindsey.
Hi, Andy. I was hoping you could take us through a little bit of Patrick's development as not just the leader of your football team, but a guy who's now, kind of the face of the NFL in terms of all the commercials he's doing, a lot of the leadership that he took in player social justice movements this summer. How has he handled that? And maybe what's been unique about him and the way that he's approached kind of all of his off-field endeavors, especially over the last year?
Lindsey, he doesn't let any of that get in the way. He just keeps going, and he's got a mind. I mentioned about Brett Veach's energy. He has that type of a mind that it doesn't shut off very often, and if it does, it's only for a while to sleep, and then it's back up and it's rolling. He's an inquisitive kid that loves doing what he's doing, and he loves people. He's not an introvert that way, and anything that's brought upon him, he seems to do well with, and he's got a pretty good feel on what's too much, and so he's able to back things off as needed, and he's got a good surrounding group with him, whether it's his agent or publicist or his fiance. I mean, that's a great support system for him, and then obviously his coaches do a nice job with that too. So but he's able to balance all that. He does a nice job of that.
Let's go next to Pete Gradoff. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Coach. I just was wondering if in 2018, after the AFC Championship game, when Tom came over to talk to Patrick, were you in the locker room then? Did you see that, or did you hear what they talked about?
I was in the locker room. I didn't see it. I mean, I was back in my office getting showered up. So, but it was really just he and Patrick in there and our equipment guys at that time. And they had, it was very nice of Tom to do that and talk to him. I know it was a special moment there for Patrick, and he appreciated Tom taking the time to do that.
Let's go next to Trajan Watkins. Go ahead.
Coach Reid, how you doing?
Good, Trajan.
Good. I wanted to get your thoughts on Todd Bowles' defense and his tendency to send the heat a lot more often than, I guess you could say, your average defensive play caller. Does this tendency to send more blitzes than usual concern you any bit now compared to when you two Chiefs and Bucks faced off earlier in the regular season? And do those extra blitz tendencies worry you, especially with the injuries along the offensive line?
Well, I liked him a lot better when he was my defensive coordinator. I'll tell you, it was good to have him on my side. He challenges you, and that's why he's special. He's a special guy and special coordinator in this league, and he's another one that probably could have been a head coach this year too. So I mean, he's a sharp guy. He's got NFL experience as a player and a coach. He's got a package that's ridiculous, complex, and he's got about every look you can imagine, and he's not afraid to put it out there. So you got to be on your A game when you play against him.
Let's go next to Adam Kilgore with the Washington Post. Go ahead, Adam.
Andy, what to you stands out most or is most unique about the way Travis Kelce sort of, has developed like the craft of getting open? And is there anything within that you can kind of tell that he used to play quarterback, kind of the way he sees the game or moves out there?
Yeah, no, he's got good vision and very good instincts. He understands coverages. He's just got a real knack for that, finding space in tight areas. And then at the same time, being patient enough to work a man coverage, knowing the depth of the route in which to run it at. He and the quarterback have a pretty special bond there and relationship where the quarterback trusts him to get open on time. And he's got a real good feel for that. And then he wants to be the best. Either, for all the young people that watch he and Patrick do their thing or Tyreek do these guys work so hard at their job. So yeah, they've got talent, but then they work it. And that's a part as a coach you appreciate. There's nothing worse than having guys that you say they have the talent, but they don't spend the time and effort to learn the stuff. And these guys do that.
Let's go next to Santiago Tomasi. Go ahead, Santiago.
Thanks, Mr. Reid. First of all, thank you for your time. And you have Tyreek Hill, DeMarcus Robinson, Sammy Watkins, Michael Hartman. You have one of the most impressive groups of wide receivers in the league. How do you feel has that helped Patrick Mahomes to improve his game at the level of MVP last year and almost MVP this year?
Yeah, so he has a lot of trust in those guys. He's worked very hard with them to understand them, and those guys understand Patrick. And so there's got to be that. You can have a ton of skill, but if you're not on the same page with the quarterback and you don't understand the scheme that you're working in, then you're not going to have production. So these guys work together. They spend endless hours doing it. If special teams going on, they don't have special teams responsibility. They're over there working. There's not a minute that you see them standing around. They're always figuring something new out, and you sure appreciate that as a coach.
Let's go next to Mark Potash. Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, Andy. Tom Brady said that Patrick Mahomes has the ability to focus when the moments are biggest. I'm wondering, is that something that you identified in the scouting process in the draft with Mahomes? And if so, what were the indicators?
Well, 700 yards against Oklahoma probably wasn't bad. That was a pretty big moment for Texas Tech and for Patrick and for him to, be able to do that. I'm sure Tom's heard that same thing said about him. Nobody's done it like he has over the years in big moments. So I think that's why Tom probably stopped by the locker room and talked to Patrick. He saw himself a little bit right there in Patrick. And so, and there's that mutual respect. Not a lot of guys have that ability to do that. And the fans are lucky to have these two in the game opposed to each other, playing against each other. Because of that. I mean, just that fact right there that Tom mentioned, I think is worth every dime you could spend on a ticket right there. Just watching those two operate.
Go next to Jenna Lane. Go ahead, Jenna.
Hey, Coach, I was just talking to Travis Kelce about, how it's much different this year, obviously, with COVID and with you guys not traveling until late. And he talked about, you miss kind of that buildup leading up to the game. And so I'm just wondering from your standpoint, can that possibly hurt you guys in terms of having the right mindset going into the Super Bowl, or can that maybe help you because, you're kind of away from all the attention for a little while and you can just kind of focus on yourselves? How are you treating that?
I'll be able to answer that probably after the game, but I think I think it's okay. It's unique. Having been there last year with all the hype and now we're doing this. I think this week though, it intensifies with the media and they'll get that feel. And then you see everything on ESPN and all these different networks promoting the game. So, you get the nice Nike gear out and you're ready for that and rolling there and so on. So, it's it'll start ramping up this week a little bit different than being there, but I still think you'll be okay knowing that you're in the Super Bowl.
Let's go next to Henry Winkler. Go ahead, Henry. Or Adam, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, I've been called worse. That's okay.
I was getting the fawns for about a minute.
Hey,
baby. I was getting fired up.
Sorry to disappoint you, Coach.
No, you're all right.
You've obviously been focused on running it back, but two guys with whom you're quite close, Ron Rivera and Alex Smith, both wrote inspirational chapters in their career this season. I'm wondering maybe how seeing that, even from afar, impacted you this season.
Yeah, I mean, how great are those guys, man? I mean, Ron was with me for all those years and in Philly, and he's been a head coach now at his second stop. He did phenomenal at Carolina, and now this first year in Washington without, with a name change, without an off season, that and just the whole COVID. I mean, it's what he did was phenomenal. And then takes in a team where Alex gets, is hurt. And then he works through the quarterback situation, ends up with a kid that nobody knows, and they dang near win the game. I mean, it's they put on a great performance. So Ron Rivera is a tremendous coach. There's nobody better than Alex Smith, man. I'll tell you, just one of my favorite guys. And the story, all you have to do is watch that special on him, and you fall in love with the guy. I had a chance to coach him, so I kind of knew the man behind all that. And if I had to predict how he would attack an injury, that would be how he would do it. I mean, that's his core right there.
Let's go next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Andy, good to see you. It just got reported that it looks like Daniel Kilgore and Demarcus Robinson were put on the COVID-19 list due to close contacts. I'm just wondering if you can confirm that and how much you learned of it, and if they were with the guys today, or did you find this out yesterday?
No, we found it out yesterday. Yeah. So that's about as far as I can go with it, but they'll work through it.
Let's go next to Joey Redmond. Go ahead, Joey.
Hey, Coach, appreciate you. So your third Super Bowl coaching experience, the first one, obviously the fan thing is going to be an interesting dynamic, and we've been dealing with it all season, but I'm just wondering, in a Super Bowl game, when everything is at a bigger stage and it's, you bring out all the stops, how does the difference in crowd affect your ability to maybe expand the playbook in a certain way or affect offensive tempo in a certain way going into this game?
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't have as many fans, so it's not as loud normally as obviously what it normally is. But there's still enough noise when fans are let in, like they will be in the Super Bowl, where, you've got to be aware of that. When you played in these empty stadiums, you could just use your snap count any way you wanted to use it, and like being at home. So, it was definitely a different experience.
We'll go next to Rob Matty. Good, Rob.
Hey, Andy. Hello from Philly. I apologize if you've had this question come up. I've been bouncing around Zooms. Just wondering if you had an opportunity to chat with Doug Peterson since he was let go, and what you thought of what he was able to do there, accomplish in such a short period of time, and were you surprised at how it ended up?
Yeah, so I have talked to Doug. He's doing well. Things happen in this business. I'm not privy of the behind the doors issues, and I don't really want to get involved in those issues. I've got enough things that you have to take care of with your own team, so I don't need to deal with the other part. But I was proud of him for winning a Super Bowl there. I think it was great for the city of Philadelphia, and great for the actual organization of the Eagles. Well deserved by everybody there. I just think it was time, and I'm so happy for the people of Philadelphia.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Jory Epstein. Go, Jory.
Hi, Andy. How are you doing today?
Yeah, thank you. I'm doing good.
You mentioned that your players who have been ruled close contacts will get through it, but do you say anything to the guys differently about the COVID protocols this week, given the stakes, or do you change anything?
You know what? The NFL has done a great job with it, of presenting different safety things for the players to stay as safe as possible. We've been hammering this point home for forever. The problem is you're fighting the invisible man. So it just it gets you when least expected, and we're seeing that everywhere. And so it's an unfortunate thing. These guys were being as safe as they could be, and we'll just see how it goes. But the league's got built-in rules and regulations, and so we follow those, and it'll all work out. I mean, it'll all work out for them when it's all said and done. So, but you follow the rules, man. They're there for a reason. These guys have done a great job with it. I mean, my hat goes off to the NFL and to all these teams for doing this. I think we all know that it's a tough situation, and you're fighting germs, and they're hard to see, man.
Got time for one more, and we'll go to Peter Carline. Go ahead, Peter.
Hello. 16 years ago, you're preparing to face Tom Brady in a Super Bowl. How different do you think the Brady of then is to the Brady of today?
I don't see much difference, which is quite an amazing thing. He's a special guy, and he's done a great job keeping himself football young, and his arm is still alive. His will to win is alive, and he's been fun to watch over the years.
Coach, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
All right, thank you. Appreciate you guys.